You don't lose control of your money in one big mistake. You lose it over 100 small moments you barely notice. And that's the uncomfortable part, because it means everything can feel okay, and your direction can still be completely off. There's no dramatic crash, no single purchase that ruins everything, no giant red flag waving in your face. It's just quiet drift. Think about the last few days. The subscription that renewed without you even opening the app. The upgrade you paid for because it was only a few dollars more. The dinner you went to even though you didn't really want to go. None of these feel like money decisions, but stacked together, they quietly decide over time what your life gets to look like. They decide whether you're building savings, whether you feel financially stretched at the end of the month, or whether you have freedom or friction and stress about money. In this video, I'm going to walk you through 5 clear rules that decide what your money supports and what it doesn't. Not complicated rules, not extreme budgeting, just small boundaries that quietly protect your future. Rule 1. Set a baseline before the store sets it for you. This usually starts with a completely normal moment. You're standing in a store choosing between the store brand and a name brand of a product. And you tell yourself, it's only a few more dollars. What could go wrong if I get the name brand this time? That sentence doesn't just change this purchase, it changes what to expect the next time. After a few repeats of getting the more expensive one, the nicer option stops feeling like a choice. It starts feeling like the baseline. And when your baseline moves higher, your monthly spending moves higher with it, even if nothing about your life actually changed. You didn't upgrade your income. You didn't upgrade your goals. You just quietly upgraded your expectations. And with higher expectations, they come with higher expenses. Here's what to do instead. Pick one category in your life. Coffee, clothes, takeout, groceries, whatever feels realistic, and write down a hard price limit. For example, my coffee will never cost more than $5. I won't spend more than $30 on a t-shirt. I won't buy the store brand unless it's a special occasion. Make it clear. Make it simple. The next time something in that category costs more than your limit, don't buy it. No debate, no internal negotiation, no justification of it. Then take that difference, that $3, $8, $15 that you saved, and move it somewhere intentional. Whether it's a savings account, investing, paying off debt, something that actually matters to you and will benefit you. You're not depriving yourself. You're deciding what gets an upgrade. Rule 2. Cancel decisions you're not actively making. Some of the hardest money to stop isn't the stuff you buy. It's the stuff you never even think about. Open your email and search the word renewed. You'll probably see at least one charge you actively didn't choose this month. That's an old decision spending today's money. And here's the subtle problem. Subscriptions feel small. They feel harmless. They feel automatic. But automatic spending slowly removes awareness. And awareness is what controls lives. A lot of these old decisions also over time have had price increases that you didn't even pay attention to. So that old decision you made when you signed up for some subscription was based on one price, and now there's a new price that's 30% higher, and you didn't even bother to decide if this new price is worth keeping. You just let it renew. Here's what I would do. Open up your bank app, search the word monthly. Write down every recurring charge you see: streaming services, apps, software, membership, subscriptions you forgot about. Now circle the 3 you actually use every single week or at least a few times a month. Not, I might watch it. Not, I like having it as an option in case I will watch it. Actually use. Cancel the rest of them today. If you truly miss one of these that you canceled later, you can always add it back. But for now, let today's version of you be the one in control. Let today's decisions manage your money going forward, not old decisions from the past. Because every subscription you cancel isn't just money saved, it's a decision closed. Rule 3. Decide your social spending before the invite comes. This is where spending blends into everything else. The group chat lights up about dinner, but you don't really want to go. But you also don't want to be the one who skipped or have FOMO, so you say yes and go. That's how social spending becomes automatic. It's not about the food, it's not about the event, it's about belonging. And that's real. But if you don't put a boundary around it, it quietly expands. Here's what to do instead. Decide on one paid social event per week, whether it's one dinner, a concert, sporting event, one night out that actually costs money. When the second invite comes, say no, or suggest something free instead, whether it's a walk, coffee, game night, time at the park. Another way to do this is set a cap on money spent on social events each week. Let's say you set your cap at $100 per week. If your first event comes and it's a concert that costs you $75, that leaves you $25 to spend on another social event that week. If a friend comes to you and suggests dinner, just say no and maybe suggest something that's a little cheaper, like happy hour or just getting apps instead of a full dinner. That way you can fit it in your $25 budget still and still have another event. The goal isn't to be isolated. It's intentional connection. When you limit it, the yes actually means something, and your money stops trying to buy approval. Rule 4. Cap your weekly categories. Small charges don't feel big until the week is already gone and you add them all up. Open your bank app right now and scroll through the last 7 days. You'll probably see a pattern. $10 here, $18 there, $22 for something random. All of these are just kind of random charges that you didn't really think made a difference. You just did it because they were small amounts. Nothing looks too dangerous. But together, that's quickly $50 of what seems like a few small random purchases. It does add up fast when you start adding them together. The fix isn't to obsess over every purchase. It's to choose one category that tends to drift. Food, coffee, rides, Amazon, whatever it is, set a weekly cap on it. Write the cap number down. Say $75 for takeout, $40 for coffee, $100 for convenience spending. When you hit that number, stop. If it's a Thursday and you already spent $40 on coffee for the week, skip coffee for the remaining of the week or make it at home where it's free. Spend $75 on takeout between Tuesday and Friday night. Get something to cook at home. That will be a lot cheaper. Already reached your $100 allowance for convenient spending? If you want something more, wait till the next week when your next $100 becomes available and use it towards that. No guilt, no shame, just pause until the next week starts. That one boundary alone can reset your awareness, because instead of asking, can I afford this? You start asking, is this worth using part of my limit for? That's a different mindset. Start with one category or even an item that you regularly buy. When you are able to complete doing this with the first item, then start adding in more things to it. By doing this one item or category at a time, step by step, this makes the mindset change realistic and accomplishable. You can always do this in steps too. If you're currently spending $250 a week on takeout, maybe for the next 2 weeks drop it down to a $150 cap, and then after that set it to $75 going forward. For some items, this might make it easier and more attainable to do than just a massive drop cold turkey. Step 5. This one is subtle. Buying tools for habits feels productive. A planner, a budgeting app, new gym gear, a course. It feels like progress, but it's often the preparation without action. Think about the last time you bought something because it will get you back on track with a goal. Now here's what to do next time. Before you buy anything that depends on a habit, open your calendar. Schedule 2 sessions for that habit. Whether it's 2 workouts, 2 budgeting sessions, 2 study blocks, and then actually show up for them. If you do, then you're allowed to buy them. If you actually went to the gym twice and know you will be going back, go ahead and buy that pair of gym shorts and shirt. If you didn't go to the gym during your 2 scheduled sessions, then keep your money. You can always try this again later and see if you actually pick up that habit or not. There are so many people that spend $50, $80, $100 on gym clothing thinking they are going to start going to the gym a bunch to get in shape. Most then never go, or go once or twice and then quit, and all that money just went to waste. There are so many examples just like this, that by using this rule would save them money. This method also works with something like upgrading an item you already have. Maybe you want to get back into golf, but you just have a really old set of clubs. Wait until you actually go golfing multiple times and know you want to keep going before actually upgrading to a new set of golf clubs. Then you have verification that you want to golf more instead of just assuming you do and will. Habits are what create results. Tools just support them. The takeaway here is close the open loops. Most people don't feel disconnected from their money because they're irresponsible. They feel disconnected because too many decisions stay open. There's no price limits. Their subscriptions are on autopilot. Unlimited social spending. Weekly drift. Habit tools without doing the actual habits. There's open loops everywhere here. The moment you start closing them by setting price limits, canceling those subscriptions you don't use, limiting paid plans, capping your weekly spending, scheduling the habits before you buy them to verify you're actually going to do these habits first. Your money starts to feel different. It feels chosen. It feels aligned. It feels calm. And that's the goal. Not restriction, not perfection, just alignment. Because when your small decisions line up with what you actually value, your future stops feeling accidental. It starts feeling intentional. That's a mindful moment. And if you want more grounded, practical ideas on building a financial life that actually fits you, subscribe to the channel All Things Money, and we'll